All right, let's do this thing. We got anybody in chat yet? I'm Know Nothing Attorney. I know nothing, so you can too. Because it's only in embracing that we know nothing that we can actually learn anything. What up, Maddie? That's what I hope to do every night I'm here live with you guys. I hope to learn from you, and I hope you can learn along with me. And I hope that our president can learn a fucking lesson himself. Though, he has never shown an aptitude for learning. Hard to expect him to learn anything at any point, especially in the declining, I don't know, months, weeks of his life. But yeah, things have been wild for a little bit. But okay, I want to start with something that I consider fun. I'm sure that I'm one of few crazy people on the planet that consider this fun, but hell, we're gonna fucking do it. And we're going to attack a fucking LSAT question. Oh, I haven't seen them picking a fight with the Pope yet. Who's they? Who picked a fight with the Pope? Google Drive. I just want to document. Holy crap, I needed debate prep. When am I going to do that? I have no idea when I'm going to do that. Are you finding the link, Maddie? How can we properly fit this on the screen, eh? I think what I want to do is, yeah, this is the perfect thing. This is what we'll do. Yeah. Let's grab. How do I want to do this? Oh, come on. Separate Google Doc? I don't know, man. Sure. Okay, we'll do it like that. Are you ready to tackle an LSAT question live, Maddie? Let's fucking go. Yes, that's fine. Well, I hope it's fine. We're doing it anyway. God. There we go. I'm gonna put this over here. Stop. And put this right here. This is how it's gonna go. That's it. Okay. Is it a bit louder than usual? Okay. You're right. Is that better? Sound check, sound check. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-na-na. Check one, check two. A bit. Oh, and turn down a little bit more. Oh, I didn't turn down the music. Okay. Austin. Usually I turn down that slider when I turn my voice up. Now we good? That should do it, I think. Awesome. Okay, So here's my philosophy on the LSAT. You know how we discussed the other day how the SAT is racist? How they use like terms like the regatta. The LSAT at least does a somewhat better job of handling its shit. Sure it is, but like at least, well, in terms of how they speak and what they talk about, they certainly can be, but they have to be super strict on how the logic ultimately plays out. So everything ends up being a smokescreen. Literally everything. The words on the page barely matter because an alien has to be able to come down. Like they have to presume you don't know any of the subject matter. So you need to, in 90% of the cases, be able to work out the logic without knowing the subject matter. So the words are basically meaningless gibberish. And you have to be able to tie the words together to get like symbols rather than words that hold meaning. Add everyone next time. I'm pretty sure that the announcements thing pings everyone, does it not? What happened to my Discord? It's gone. It's just an algorithm or word flow chart. Yeah, yeah. Can't I make a channel ping everyone when I post to it? I thought announcements did that. Huh. Happy hump day to you. God help people taking the LSAT. There's a reason only the Canadian first gens are lawyers in the family. None of the family up there who were naturalized has enough patience for that convoluted language. Fifth stream in a row. Let's go. And I'll give you a break this weekend. That way you don't have to keep the streak going through a weekend. Thank you, little Donny Fund. You can help me get sorted with all my shit. Like, life is finally starting to slow down, I think. Okay, so this is the way that I write shit like this, at least when I'm being thorough. So I read, the early ancestors of birds were dinosaurs that branched off into a radically new direction from the mass of other dinosaurs. So I get rid of the words. Early ancestor birds equal dinosaur that branched off into a radically new direction from the mass of other dinosaurs. So this is comparing one group of dinosaurs to the other dinosaurs. So I would call this D1. If I had my freaking pen and paper, I would do like a branching symbol with like, oh, and like this. Silly. I draw branching like that. Early ancestors of birds are dinosaurs that branched off in a radically new direction. I really need to set up my tablet so I can show you how I would actually write this out. I would write this radically new. I write that over the branching symbol because you need these words to show up again. If they're gonna try and tie the logic back, they need to have the words be exactly the same as the words that they related them back to. If they're not exactly the same words, then you don't worry about it on a first pass. Only on the second pass do you go back and try to be like, okay, now I need things that are exact synonyms. Only exact synonyms will suffice. Oh, you definitely need shorthand to take notes, for real. But that's not why I do this when going over LSAT questions. It's because LSAT questions are intentionally convolutedly written. This is poorly written. This isn't a real LSAT question. It is poorly written. But either way, it is written to obfuscate. It's written to trick you. The whole point is, can you be logically tricked? Or is your logical faculties able to see through logical tricks? E plus negative A plus or minus A to B. Yeah. But the important thing is that those symbols need to show up exactly again. So early ancestors of birds are dinosaurs, subgroup of dinosaurs that branched off in a radically new direction from D as a group, other dinosaurs, all the dinosaurs. Radically new equals flight. That's it. So that's our first premise. As a result, relatively tiny group eventually evolved into major new family with hundreds of widely varying species, the birds. So this subgroup itself, it's saying this subgroup, because it's as a result, is because of the radically new branching. I guess we'll add that. Because radically new / flying D sub 1 turned into, oh my god, that doesn't work. Ugh. Turned into major new family birds. Now when we pop now we go to modern flying mammals, it's going to try and make a case for it being the same thing. So we got modern flying mammals, which has flight in it. Note, such as the bat. Here's where they complicate things, because notice when I did D sub 1, they didn't give an example of a thing inside that subgroup. They just said this smaller group. And so modern flying mammals is already itself a smaller group, and then they're giving an example of one, which is a smaller group within a smaller group. Major new family with hundreds of varying species. Wait, what? Nope, reading the wrong part. Modern flying mammals, such as the bat, are in the same position as these early ancestors of birds. They are going in a radically new direction. So here we have the same symbols again, radically new direction. From the fellow mammals. So now I can look at my formula and I see this. This looks exactly the same as this. So this checks out. That's great. Now I look at everything that precedes it. I've got D sub 1. So that's a small group of dinosaurs. Well, yeah, I know. Right now it sounds complicated, but if we did a few examples of this, like it would start to check out easily. Like, you're just looking for things to match, and once you see that things don't match, then you've found the answer to the problem. So like, this is a match to this. We can say yes, this comparison works. But suddenly, what we have that stands out is this and this. Nope. Hold on. There we go. So modern flying mammals, it's pointing out that this subgroup is different from this group because of their flight. And I already know that that's what the radical new direction is. So I can just get rid of this and I can say M sub 1. So now this looks a lot the same. You have a subgroup of dinosaurs and you have a subgroup of mammals, both of which are flight related. But there's one difference that they gave us, and that's that they gave bats as an example. So this is different. They did something entirely different in this second formulation. It doesn't sound entirely different. They just snuck it in. That's where it's a trick. So it is likely then... likely that bats will evolve into... It's likely then that someday there will be a vast family of widely varying flying mammals descended from bats. So, major new family, like it said before, which equals bat ancestors. So now we look at, is this the same as this? Ah. No, we have a misalignment here. Because where... Oh. Where this lines up with this, so we have a subgroup of dinosaurs, and the major new family is evolving from that subgroup. In the second example, oh, god dang it, I used the wrong green. Oh my god, my mouse isn't working right. Come on, come on, come on, come on. They did a sleight of hand right here, where we're no longer talking about evolving from the subgroup, we're talking about the example from the subgroup. No, it's not that dinosaurs aren't mammal. That's not a logic flaw, that's a factual flaw. This is drawing a comparison between one rationale to another rationale. It's like this subgroup of this larger group had a radical new direction, and because of that, they were able to branch off into a whole separate new family. So we can take that same example and look at mammals. This subgroup were very different than the rest of the larger group, so they would go off and evolve into a whole new group. But that's not what the second example says. It says there's a major subgroup that's different, and there's an example within that subgroup, and that example will then go on to evolve into a whole bunch of different species. So that's where we then have to get to the problem, which, Maddie, I hope you've already learned that you were supposed to read the question stem before you read the actual question. The question stem says, which of the following, if true, most weakens the argument above? So if you're looking for something that weakens the argument above, you're looking for, if I've identified a misalignment, what makes that misalignment break the logic? Yeah, you underlined, but did you underline before you read the question? So, without looking at the answers, where is there a logic breaker that can be found in the misalignment between these two examples? I have subgroup is radically different from the larger group, so it will evolve into a bunch of different ones. And then I have subgroup is radically different from the larger group, so an example from within the subgroup will evolve into a bunch of other ones. If we've identified a difference between the two formulations, then that's exactly where the answer to the question is going to be. So what you're looking for is there a way that bats would not evolve into a whole new family of ancestors if it would be true that the subgroup would? If flying mammals will evolve into a whole bunch of new species, why won't bats? So that's what you're looking for in your answer. Is it possible to become a lawyer without going to a traditional school but just studying and passing the test? Depends on the state. Some states have apprenticeships as an alternative option to law school. Yeah, California has apprentices. Athena, you can figure this out. Let's imagine there's another flying mammal called a brick. So if there are bricks and bats, why is it possible that if as a group they will evolve into a whole bunch of new species, not necessarily bats will? Anybody. Without looking at the answers, we can come up with an answer. You got caught in an ad? So we're looking for the logic breaker that makes it so that just because subgroup of dinosaurs will evolve into a bunch of new species, it doesn't mean that subgroup of mammals, just because there's a subgroup of flying mammals, that one example from the subgroup of mammals will evolve into a bunch of species. So if we imagine that there are bats and another species of flying mammals called bricks, if bats and bricks together will evolve into a bunch of new species, why is it possible that bats won't? Sorry, Donnie Fund. Because bats are a single species, but as a group, flying mammals will go on to have hundreds of new species. How is it possible that bats won't, and that could still be true? No, no, we're not looking at the answers, Maddie. You have to come up with an answer for, to come up with an answer to this question without looking at the answers to, oh, sorry, wait, there we go. Ew, come on. There we go. So basically, to weaken the logic, instead of weakening it, just come up with an example that disproves it. That's what a weaken question means. Come up with an example that disproves their claim. It's a not that it's a subspecies of a species. It's one species among a group of mammals, right? So if we have bricks and bats, we don't want bats to turn into hundreds of new species. What's our solution then? It's a species within a family. Bats are too narrow of a carrier to expect the same degree of variety. Specifically from bats, Athena. Yeah, you got it. So, M1 can still have hundreds of new species, even if bats died off entirely. Because bricks exist. So the problem here is that bats are not an equivalent category to the subgroup of flying dinosaurs. The equivalent category is flying mammals. So you can't expect that bats will have the same result as flying dinosaurs. So we're looking for an answer that allows the subgroup to succeed even if bats don't. But that's the thing, Maddie. Just use bricks. You don't have to think of an example. That's the wonderful thing. You can just come up with an imaginary example. Because they never told you, they never said bats are the only flying mammal. You cannot use that. You can't, like, even if that were true, I think it is true that bats are the only type of flying mammal. Which, I mean, I guess maybe once they evolve into 2 new species, like something that is a non-bat could then take over. Yes, that is the trick of the LSAT, Maddie. You have to forget that you know stuff. This is not a knowledge test. Don't know things. The way to get good at the LSAT is to train yourself to come up with bullshit. Yeah, exactly. They fall. I can come up with multiple falling species of of mammals. So we are expecting an answer that lets the subcategory do great, even if bats don't. So let's. Well, lawyers have plenty of knowledge tests. This just isn't one of them. The LSAT doesn't expect you to know things. You don't know things to get into law school. That's where they teach you to know things. Being a lawyer is absolute, like, to be a skilled lawyer is absolutely having the skill to make up bullshit. No, Maddie, don't fall for the trick. Don't fall for the trick. Because, and Maddie, here's the special trick about the LSAT. They want to seize on the part of your brain that feels smart. They want to take advantage of it because your brain is feeling frustrated, so it is jumping at the chance to prove that it knows shit. And so they're going to take advantage of that feeling. You can't let them do that. No, Athena, no, absolutely not. All of their facts, quote unquote, could be absolutely wrong, and it would not have an impact on the test at all. On questions like this, little Donnie Fund, yes, they want you to play devil's advocate, because it's saying which of the following, if true, most weakens the argument. So you are trying to jump in and go, but what if this? That is exactly what a weakened question is. I was about to say something else. Oh, I was going to explain lawyers making shit up. Because here's an example. Judge finds defendant guilty because A, B, and C. Lawyer comes in and goes, well, shit. My client is lawyer. Oh no. My client is A, B, and C. What about D? What about D? Well, it depends on what you mean by D. Is D something? Is D a consideration outside of A, B, and C? Bankruptcy, divorce, probate. I mean, in those things, you can still get creative. I imagine it's just very rare that you have the opportunities to do so. Okay, so what about D? Is D outside of A, B, and C? This may be a good track, but not great. Only works if D is an unconsidered mitigating factor for A, B, and C. So if you go to D, there are going to be a lot of judges who... Come on, man. There we go. There are going to be a lot... is A-An? There are going to be a lot of judges who look at the prior ruling and go, oh, A, B, and C. D wasn't a factor in this at all, so I'm not even going to consider D. It's just A, B, and C. It's over. Those were the factors that mattered. That was the test. D never factored in. You might get a more creative judge that goes, okay, well, C was C because this, but D kind of mitigates how bad C is, so I guess D is an important factor. You're actually asking the judge to come up with a new test by going outside of A, B, and C. You do field debate questions? What do you mean field debate? It depends on what A, B, and C are, I guess. Well, yeah, for sure. Better track. But, Your Honor, C actually includes factors D, E, and F. Well, hold on. Our argument is that C, oh shoot. Our argument is that C actually includes factors D, E, and F. And my client is not F. So you want to differentiate your case from prior cases. You have to do that inside the test that was already set up. But you have to be like, the previous judge said C for a reason, and that's because of this legal theory. This is this goal of law to accomplish. And if we take into consideration that to adhere to those goals, we actually have to look deeper and get into these broader aspects. There is a hole that my client does not satisfy, like a hole in my client's story that needs to be present to actually qualify them for C. And that's where it pays to be creative as a lawyer. That's how you be a good lawyer, is come up with bullshit, quote unquote. You have to be able to come up with things that are not already on the table. You have to find ways to maybe argue, like you have to argue in ways that have not been okayed, basically. Oh, you just chat, Gad. Just chat. Just say shit. Tell me what you feel. Thoughts on allowing Iran to go nuclear under IAEA follow precedent of Pakistan, India? I feel it's a Western perspective to think an entire nation would be suicidal to cause fallout. I think it's incredibly what's the word I'm looking for? Hypocritical of the West to think that they should be the only ones with nuclear weapons. They just want the rest of the world to feel threatened. I think we live in a generation that came after the generation that came after the generation that grew up in fear of nuclear weapons, and I think we've all just kind of accepted that MAD is a thing, and no state is going to initiate nuclear war. At least that's my feeling. I may be naive in that. I don't think any state is going to initiate nuclear war. So I don't see the harm in it, at least letting like sovereign nations be armed enough to defend themselves so that they have the benefits of MAD that other nations do. Now, that may need to occur within the bounds of some kind of international agreement, but we should at least aim to have those agreements in place and not just to deny them the right to defense that the first ones who got there get to have. Oh, right. We haven't actually gotten to the answers to the question. Okay, so we want to see if any of these answers match our predicted answer. Subgroup does well. Who gives a shit about bats? Many earlies of flying dinosaurs eventually became extinct. Does not have anything to do with mammals. During the time of early ancestors of birds, there were no other flying animals with which the flying dinosaurs had to compete. Doesn't have anything to do with flying mammals. I'm just doing first pass. I know it points at B. Took millions of years for the early species of flying dinosaurs to evolve into the widely varied species of birds. Nothing to do with mammals. The evolution of the early species of flying dinosaurs may have caused the extinction of other species that would have been at least as varied and innovative as the birds. No mention of mammals. The odds of any dinosaurs developing the ability to fly were minuscule. No mention of mammals. Okay. So now we have to like do a deeper thought into, do any of these match our framework? Many early species of flying dinosaurs eventually became extinct. Does this weaken our argument? Early species of flying dinosaurs eventually became extinct. Did they still turn into hundreds of new species? Doesn't weaken the argument. During the time of the early ancestors of birds, there were no other flying animals with which the flying dinosaurs had to compete. That subgroup of flying animals, so subgroup dinosaurs does well. And then they evolve. And, well, okay. Flying mammals. Oh, because this says bats. Okay, so bats may have other flying animals to compete against, which is other flying mammals. Okay, that seems promising. It took millions of years for the early species of flying dinosaurs to evolve into widely varied species of birds. Do not care how long it took. Evolution of the early species of flying dinosaurs may have caused the extinction of other species that would have been at least as varied and innovative as the birds. We don't care if there are other species. We just care if there's like hundreds of new species. That's it. The odds of any dinosaurs developing the ability to fly were minuscule. Don't care how likely it was. Once they have the power of flight, that's what helps them generate new hundreds of species. So B is the only one that at least gets it anywhere near this type of logic that we're looking for. And then if you like sit there and actually think about it, you get to the point where it's like, okay, flying dinosaurs didn't have to compete with other flying animals, so flying dinosaurs turned into hundreds of species. Bats have to compete with other flying mammals, or may have to compete with other flying mammals, so they don't necessarily turn into other hundreds of species because there are other flying animals at play. That may weaken it. E is pointless because that was 100%. Right, yeah, once it happens, it's 100%. You're right. John Nichols, a man isn't supposed to explain himself. I don't know what the fuck that means. I definitely think a man should be able to explain himself. You should be able to explain the bases for all of your positions. Oh, that's in reference to my chat title. I said explain your MAGA beliefs. No, a man definitely should be able to explain his political beliefs. You definitely should be able to. Isn't supposed to. A man isn't supposed to do anything. Oh, I can see it. You're good. All right, let me pull it out.
Corrupting his lawyer.
Oh no. I love this bit. No, I got it, Maddie. I got it. I can see the link when it's posted. Before I look at this clip real quick, Maddie, do you have any questions about how any of the answers fit into like our logical framework? Dang, I spent way longer working on this stuff than I thought. I also got into talking about what good lawyering looks like. Okay, do you understand why D doesn't work? Do you understand why B does work? Because I can write those out if that would help. I guess isn't good enough. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Okay, so let's start with D. The evolution of early species of flying dinosaurs may have caused the extinction of other species that would have been at least as varied or not. Okay, so D1 is flying dinosaurs, right? Yeah. D1 turned into, what does this stand for? Major new families. A family of birds. Major new family of birds. D1 also caused extinction of others. So, does the fact that D1 caused the extinction of other species that would also lead to more varied species, does that mean that that subgroup didn't evolve into what's the conclusion? Someday there will be a vast family of widely varying flying animals. Does they're causing extinction of more species change the fact that they evolved into hundreds of new species? Right, but the conclusion of the argument is that there will be a vast family of flying animals. By getting rid of more of a vast family, does it mean that there is no longer a vast family? You don't have to do this for everyone, Athena. You just need to do this for a bunch until it starts going like you can start to see the trick they're playing, because they play the same tricks over and over again. Hi, Clarence Thomas. Here to get rid of gay marriage today, or interracial marriage? Contraception? So, Maddie, if we prevent the creation of tons of new species, is it still possible to evolve into vast family of new species? I asked if you were here to get rid of gay marriage today, or interracial marriage, or contraception. You said, okay. I'm asking if that makes sense. You think you overthought it? Right, so like, it's still possible, because like you said, it already happened. It's 100% likely. Oh, don't do that, Clarence Thomas. Like, once it already happened, Maddie, it's 100% likely, right? So now let's look at B again. During the time of the early ancestors of birds. So now we're saying D1 plus no competitors leads to major new family of birds from D1. So we add that fact in. We are saying this is true. There was no competitor for D1. So now we no longer have a comparative formula. So bats plus, is there a competitor? Major new family of flying animals. So we've already come up with the possibility of bricks and bats. So if there are bricks, there's no longer a clean comparison here anymore. That, oh, okay. Well, way to prove yourself incorrect in making that joke. Without the extra competition, there will probably be more variety. I wouldn't go that far, Maddie. I wouldn't go that far, because that's not what it's saying. It's saying we have added another factor that may impact this. They're not saying it does impact it. Like, this is one of the weakest weakened questions I've seen. But it is the answer that most weakens the conclusion. They're saying there were flightless dinosaurs and no other flying animals. Oh, but here, surprise! I'm an idiot. Fucking birds. We know for a fact that there are competing flying animals. So now it's complicated. All right. So that took longer than I intended. Oh shit, you're right. Birds aren't real. Forgot that part. Nice. But even if they're not real, does the category of animals include not real animals also? Hi, Sierra Runs. How you doing this evening? Yay, we got to work LSAT. It was a terrible, terrible question, but it's still doable. I mean, I added bricks to go with bat, so that still worked. You know, I mean, to say, like, we don't know if there are competing flying animals, that would still weaken the conclusion. But in this case, we do know there are competing flying animals because it told us about birds. Oh, I see. Brick is always just my go-to. I think I did it in one of my gender debates. Yeah. The fucking 3-hour one that's up on YouTube. I talk about bricks to... I think that was a category I used to describe a subgroup of horses we could characterize as having social characteristics like zebras. I was like, we can call those bricks, and if that is helpful for us to categorize, we should definitely call them bricks. So long as the language is useful to us, sure, why not? Almost like I'm a leftist. Also, dragons fly and are not real, so that counts too. Just as much as birds. Yeah, this is true. This is true. I would just insert dragons into every LSAT question you can. Okay, so ipso facto, birds are dragons. All right, so when in Discord today I said that Iran is coming off as trolls, this was the statement I was talking about. So I did want to read this one. Did I not take professionally online's bait well enough? Did I ruin it? I fucking ruined it, didn't I? Damn it. I'm sorry, man. I should have gotten baited. Oh god. All right, fine. It's too small, homie. This text is tiny. Why is it so small? Oh, I mean the Legos too. Who keeps sharing the Legos in chat? Is it Sam? Is it Little Donnie Fund? Yeah, I mean, the fucking... I get surprised every time I watch one of those. I forget it's from Iran, and then I realize that the LEGO videos are from Iran. I'm like, oh, holy shit, what the fuck is happening? Okay, from Iran's National Security Council statement on ceasefire. What is playing right now? Don't do that. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? What? Gotta go far. Okay. The enemy, in its cowardly, illegal, and criminal war against the Iranian nation, has suffered an undeniable historical and crushing defeat. By the grace of the pure and holy blood of the martyred leader of the Islamic Revolution, His Eminence Grand Ayatollah Imam Khomeini, peace be upon him, the prudent measures of the supreme leader of the Islamic Revolution and commander-in-chief, His Eminence Ayatollah Sayyid Mojtaba Khomeini, may God protect him, and the struggle and bravery of the warriors of Islam on the fronts, especially the historical, lasting, and heroic presence of you, the dear nation, on the scene since the very first days of the war, Iran has achieved a massive victory and forced criminal America to accept its 10-point plan. Its 10-point plan. In this plan, America is fundamentally committed to guaranteeing non-aggression, the continuation of Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, the acceptance of enrichment, the lifting of all primary and secondary sanctions, the termination of all resolutions of the Security Council and the Board of Governors, the payment of Iran's damages, the withdrawal of U.S. combat forces from the region, and the cessation of war on all fronts, including against the heroic Islamic resistance of Lebanon. We congratulate all the people of Iran on this victory and emphasize that until the details of this victory are finalized, there remains a need for the steadfastness and prudence of officials and the maintenance of unity and solidarity among the Iranian people. Islamic Iran, along with the brave mujahideen of the resistance in Lebanon, Iraq, Yemen, and occupied Palestine, has dealt blows to the enemy over the past 40 days that the global historical memory will never forget. Iran and the axis of resistance as representatives... Yeah. Global evil Zionism has convinced the ignorant president of America that this war would finish Iran, allowing them, after removing this last bastion of humanity and mankind, to comfortably commit any crime against anyone they wished from then on. They dreamed of partitioning dear Iran, plundering its oil and wealth, and ultimately leaving Iranians immersed in chaos, instability, and insecurity for many long years. God, this is a long statement. To this end, while rejecting all plans presented by the enemy, Iran drafted a 10-point plan and presented it to the American side via the country of Pakistan. Oh, did I want to back up a little bit here? Nah. It emphasized fundamental points such as controlled passage through the Strait of Hormuz in coordination with Iran's armed forces, which grants Iran a unique economic and geopolitical position, the necessity of ending the war against all components of the axis of resistance, which signifies a historic defeat for the aggression of the child-killing Israeli regime, the withdrawal of U.S. combat forces from all bases and deployment points in the region, the establishment of a secure transit protocol in the Strait of Hormuz such that it guarantees Iranian dominance and according to the agreed protocol, the full payment of Iran's damages according to estimates, the removal of all primary and secondary... So, we all know that the 10-point plan is bullshit, right? Has anybody wondered about that? I hope nobody's wondered about that. Wow, I did not know that. Uh-oh, am I in trouble, Athena? Oh god, no, I don't want to watch the newest LEGO video. I don't like watching propaganda. Like, I like dissecting propaganda, but I don't know that there's a lot to dissect in LEGO videos. Well, they're Little Donnie Fund, there's nothing to honor. It was not a real plan. But America accepted it. And America never intended to hold up their end of the bargain, but they were going to position things like Israel has done before, where they just claim that the other side has breached the agreement so that they can then have an excuse to continue the war effort. And Iran knows this, So Iran has this accepted the deal, and then they just go around touting it out loud as if they think it's the greatest thing in the world, that it's a win for them. They would never breach this because it's such a huge win for them, and they have just humiliated America on top of everything else. So now it's basically baiting America. Like, well, what are you gonna do about it? Are you are you gonna cause problems with this agreement? Yeah, it's just trolling. Oh yeah, it's already been breached. Oh, absolutely. And I am saying this with an amused face. I am not like championing Iran or anything. But it sure is funny to see the losers in charge of the imperialist effort just egg on their face over and over again. I would love to see both sides fail. So apparently there was a discussion thread about a press briefing. Did I miss anything with the press briefing, guys? Is this the same kid? This was like 6 months ago, I think. Wonder if Plattner is going to win. Last I heard he's polling really well, but polls aren't reliable. Ain't my department. Republicans worry Iran may have already cost them Congress. Dude, y'all already lost Congress before Iran. Are you kidding? Do you not know how bad things are that y'all have made it? Like, y'all have made things this bad. How do you not realize that? It's too bad that I hope I didn't wait too long to read John Nichols' chat in YouTube chat. I responded to it and they never replied. A man isn't supposed to explain himself. How silly. The war wasn't the problem, the price of living and lack of jobs is. I mean, the war wasn't an answer to anything. It is just a smokescreen for the Epstein files. Pentagon threatened the Pope after he criticized Trump. Oh my God. Oh my God. It was my theory from the very beginning that the Vatican chose an American Pope as a declaration of philosophical war against the United States. Wait, was there a thing people didn't like before Iran? Was there some kind of giant scandal actively destroying the government and getting worse by the day? What do we go back to worrying about now? Hexeth is such a baby. Relations between the U.S. and the Catholic Church have not been the same. I can't believe that a phrase like that still exists in 2026. Can the world not please move along a little bit faster? Relations between the U.S. and the Catholic Church as a powerful international institution. A nation should not be on the same level as this. Relations between the U.S. and the Catholic Church have not been the same since January, when senior U.S. defense officials shared an abrasive message with a Vatican official. Days after Pope Leo delivered his State of the World speech, Undersecretary of Defense for Policy Elbridge Colby. Elbridge? Jesus Christ. Get that silver spoon out of your mouth when you tell me your name, homie. Summoned Cardinal Christophe Pierre, the Vatican's U.S. representative, to a closed-door Pentagon meeting for a bitter lecture. You can summon cardinals? What shape do I draw on the floor for that? That and to undermine the hyper right-wing bishops in the U.S. Wait, man, does he mean religion bad or just Catholicism? Well, it wasn't. I do think religion bad, but that was not a criticism of religion. It was criticism of religion's role on the international stage. I state See, me being the awful lefty that I am, I believe that a nation should be pluralist. It should contain multitudes. It should have all sorts of different kinds of people. And so a state should represent a massive swath of different kinds of people. And a religion doesn't reach that far. So for a religion to be standing on the same level as a state in terms of like international talks doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Oh shoot, Maddie calling me out saying that I only have an issue with religious stuff because I had a history of it. I don't feel like my history with religious stuff is like that. I don't feel like I have religious trauma or anything. I just reasoned my way out of religion and think reason should win the day. I raised Catholic, so my brain goes, why would the Catholic Church not be internationally and political stuff? I didn't say you had issues with it, just that you have past history. But how is that an explanation for anything? The United States, Colby said, according to a blistering new report by the Free Press, has the military power to do whatever it wants in the world. The Catholic Church had better take its side. Holy shit, dude, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? Are y'all reading this shit? God damn. Hello, Bisky. It's a cute name for a biscuit. I want some Bisky and Grav. You are Bisky. Hi. I would, but I am not MAGA. What's XF for sure? Saying that through Colby? One U.S. official present at the meeting brought up the Avignon papacy, a period in the 14th century in which the French monarchy bent the Catholic Church into submission, ordering an attack on Pope Boniface VIII that led to his downfall and subsequent death, and forcing the papacy to relocate from Rome to Avignon, a region inside France. What the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? What is this? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is going on? Just literally up in here threatening the Vatican. Like, literally directly threatening the Vatican. What the fuck? I am not Christian. I am an atheist. I am a skeptic. This is bonkers shit. Where are my Catholics at? Guys, come on. I need to text my friends. I don't think they know about this. This is wild. Oh yeah, Alex O'Connor's great. Swear to God, I thought you were gonna say Alex Jones. I mean, wait, hold on. Let me make sure I know who I'm talking about. Okay. I like some takes of Alex O'Connor. I cannot stand listening to that fucking dude talk. I cannot stand listening to him talk. Wait, Maddie, I'm not judging his voice. I just can't listen to him talk. I'm sure there are plenty of people that love his voice. I don't have the ground to stand on to insult his voice. But why? Because I think it's way too dragged and monotone. I've got really bad ADHD. That's probably what it is. I have really bad ADHD. I cannot listen to somebody who well, this is what we're going to talk about, and this is my opinion, and this is, let's actually rationalize that. Let's talk about let's deliver the points, and we'll go through each of the points one by one. Yeah, I'm just like, dude, come on, man, come on. Oh, yeah, I listened to Parker Get a Job and Dean Withers. I really like Parker. Dean gets really on my nerves a lot. I like his takes, but his attitude pisses me off. Parker sometimes gets into Dean mode, and when he does that, I'm just like, dude, stop. You're acting like a child. Please fucking stop. I mean, Parker is definitely more me style than Dean is. Like, let's just be friendly through the thing. Yeah, they're both young and learning. Like, Parker would definitely be a lot different at 37. That's why I wanted to find more mainstream news pieces about this story. Well, there's an easy way to do that. It's April 9th, 1:05 a.m. I'm reading a story about U.S. threatening the Vatican. I would like to find more mainstream sources if they're available. Can you do a quick search and see what you can find? Ta-da! This is a way you can use AI without it giving you an opinion that you just rely on, and then like there's no way for me to get a hallucination, which now I'm back to that story of quote-unquote hallucinations, where the AI knew my daughter's name and then claimed it didn't have any way to know it. So fun. Watch Alex O'Connor, but I wish sometimes he would have more emotion when he spoke, but I don't want to be mean. Yeah, like that's another part of my issue too, is like you should have emotions about some of the shit that's going on. One of the parts where I really like hit my stride, I think, in this, like, you know, getting into the whole streaming thing, was the night that it was like just me and Maddie for a while, and Maddie fucking coached me into getting mad. And then I just owned being mad for a little bit, and it was good. Like I was rightfully mad. At least he was respectful. I mean, sometimes that can be bad. Like, I've gotten into it with a couple of people at the end of a few hours of debating with somebody, and like I'll start to get pissed off at them, and I'll let them know that I'm pissed off at them, and I'll just say, hey, like, it's about time that you understand that you are a shit human being. And they're like, whoa, where's this coming from? I've been respectful this entire time. And I'm like, you haven't been respectful at all. You have just kept your tone under control. The shit you have been saying has not in the least been respectful. You have been cruel and horrid. Oh, ouch, Maddie, ouch. What do you mean by mean, Bisky? I have plenty of patience with people, and I'll sit here and I'll fucking talk to Nazis for a few hours, trying to pry and get at the root of what it is they actually care about. But when it gets to the point where they are just being persistently disrespectful and show no interest in actually analyzing their views, I think there was one guy where I'll argue that it can be extraordinarily helpful to be mean to someone. When I sat here for like 4 hours debating a guy, being incredibly polite and being actually engaged in what his position was and asking questions, and then it got to the end of it and I got fucking pissed off at him, he was like, it was obvious that he was like, whoa, where's this coming from? This guy is like the really nice one. This guy is the rational one, the patient one. And suddenly he's like being really pissed off at me. What did I do? That dude left. He went and took a shower. He came back into chat. Well, actually, I hung up on him. I hung up on him. Then he went and took a shower, and then he came back in chat to talk more, which meant he was thinking about it the whole time he was showering, which I think means that we did something effective by me showing an actual long thought out process of getting angry. It wasn't spur of the moment. It wasn't, I'm mad at you just because I'm not willing to listen through like to your positions. He can't make that claim anymore. If you get mad at somebody right away, they can just be like, oh, well, you're not willing to listen to me. If I listen to you for 4 hours, yeah, I'm fucking willing to listen to you. Now, if I'm mad at you, there's something you're doing wrong. I like the one debate when Parker did a debate with Ben Shapiro, but I didn't like Charlie Kirk's one because Charlie was rude. Jordan Peterson was rude. Jordan Peterson was a bitch in that. Excuse me, y'all. He was a wuss. I think that more appropriate. I don't normally say bitch. I think my girlfriend's rubbing off on me. He was a real wuss in that debate. And is evident in that debate. I don't think I've ever not seen a right-winger not be rude. Yeah, right? I mean, the entire position of modern conservatism requires that you not care about the suffering of others. Period. Pure shower thoughts. It's free real estate. Yeah, right? But you have to earn that. I think there is a way to effectively be mad at someone, but you have to earn it. You have to get their trust first, and then you can be mad at them. Grimlow does the funniest Jordan Peterson. It's basically evil Kermit the Frog. To me, Jordan Peterson was rude, and that is unnecessary. Parker was being nice. Well, Jordan Peterson was getting rude because he was being defensive and scared. Jordan Peterson is... Jordan Peterson is a complete fraud, in my opinion. He's never said anything particularly coherent. He honestly just comes off as someone who hasn't listened to anybody but himself for his entire life. Those right-wing debate bros also give politeness to people they respect as their equals. The Chaos Dragon and lobsters. I've made some clips of Grimlow I want to go look at now. The Christian God who does or does not exist wants you to marry a chaos lobster. Parker is always so kind. I love him, but I felt bad for him sometimes during those debates. Yeah. The people they only respect is basically straight white conservative dudes. Yeah. I can't respect you if I'm afraid of you. And I'm afraid of you if I'm not familiar with the type of person you are. Okay, this story has solid mainstream coverage. Here's what's been reported. The Daily Beast, Newsweek. Newsweek is mainstream enough, right? Uh-oh, Bisky's in trouble. Bisky is trying to force my language. You want me to open a YouTube? I'm fucking losing it over here.
How do you feel about Donald?
Ben Shapiro debates Parker. Guys, I gotta go to bed soon. I gotta fucking go to bed. Tomorrow is a school day, and I've got lore tonight, so I have to wake up at a reasonable time to take her to school. Okay, let's bring Parker in here so real quick, just because he's so fucking cute. Oh, well, hold on. Let me go through this real quick. U.S. President J.D. Vance said Wednesday he would look into reports that senior Pentagon officials lectured the Vatican's ambassador, leading to oh yeah, look at they were acting without orders, acting out of turn here. Vance, speaking in Hungary, was asked about reports. Yeah. Send what? What do we? The clips of Grimlow? Spokesperson for the Department of Defense told Newsweek that the Free Press's characterization of the meeting was highly exaggerated and distorted. The meeting between Pentagon and Vatican officials was a respectful and reasonable discussion. Oh, okay. We have nothing but the highest regard and welcome continued dialogue with the Holy See. According to the report, also backed up by independent reporter Christopher Hale, who writes the letters from Leo Substack, a closed-door meeting between Vatican and Pentagon officials took place in January. In January, U.S. officials were reported to have lectured the Catholic Church representatives, with one official reaching for a 14th century weapon and invoking the Avignon papacy. Reaching for a 14th century weapon? What? Period of time when the French monarchy used military force to bend the Bishop of Rome to its wishes. America has the military power to do whatever it wants in the world. Yeah, we read that part. Today's... You want me to read the end of this specific article, Maddie? Reports suggest the Pope was invited to the U.S. as part of the country's 250th anniversary celebrations. Oh. According to the Free Press, the Vatican did initially entertain the idea, but postponed the visit indefinitely because of foreign policy disagreements. Good plan. You do not want to be a puppet on America's strings for a big parade of America's interests. Ben is not rude in my opinion, but a little bit blunt sometimes. I mean, he's definitely rude. Yeah, very, very, very rude. Okay. You know what bothers me is, like, I see debaters constantly correct conservatives who say, Kamala Harris. They say Kamala Harris, and then the debater would be like, it's Kamala. And they're like, oh, okay, Kamala, whatever it is. And I never hear the debater go, dude, I'm just trying to save you from looking like an idiot. Because nothing starts off a good debate like saying you don't know how to pronounce the name of the person you're here to talk about. Who's going to buy them fucking Aquaman? I don't buy that anyone would fuck Aquaman. He only gets on with fish. True, but sometimes if someone has an accent or something, I don't want to say anything because it might be rude. What are we talking about? I'm so lost.
Donald Trump saying that he wants to terminate all articles found in the Constitution.
I mean, to what comment are you specifically referring?
Like his tweet on Twitter.
The one
I mean,
where he
show of
fucking
hands.
said
Who
it.
takes everything that Donald Trump says seriously in this room? If you take everything that Donald Trump says absolutely literally, you might need to see a psychiatrist.
Literally or seriously? Hold on, Ben. Takes everything that Trump says literally, or takes everything Trump says seriously? Because I definitely take everything he says seriously. That is not the same thing as literally. I like how you shifted the goalpost there. Oh, who's gonna buy their houses? Yeah. I remember that. That was funny. Oh. No, there's just plenty of people who come in, like, you can tell they intentionally want to say her name wrong. It's like, dude, you're just making yourself look dumb. I'm sorry.
Kamala Harris is a threat to the institutions of our republic. Not all at once there, guys.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
CR, nice to
Hey,
meet
and
you.
it's threatening to do things that were not, that were then held back by the institutions. This is sort of my point.
Sit here and
I'm so sorry you've been voted out by the
Why did we
majority.
spend
Please
3
return to
minutes
your
on
seat.
this
That was fun.
one?
Thank you
It's
anyway.
supposed to be like a Parker clip. I guess we go to somebody else later. Okay. Weird.
It's like American Gladiator over here. Hey, how's it going? Hey, good to meet
So I've always heard that the order of debaters is pre-selected and the whole rushing to the chair thing is just for show, and it makes me angry every single time. Makes me angry every single time. I hate disingenuous shit.
to meet you.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about Donald Trump saying that he wants to terminate all articles found in the Constitution?
I mean, to what comment are you specific?
I feel like I remember hearing somebody who had been on there talking about their experience being on there.
Referring?
Like his tweet on Twitter.
Well, no, his tweet on Twitter actually suggested that he believes that, quote unquote, the election was
All right, what does this fact check say? On December 3rd, 2022, Trump wrote on Truth Social that the alleged fraud in the 2020 election could justify terminating rules, regulations, and even parts of the Constitution. I'm not sure about that framing. Hold on a second. Bisky, so are you asking so far he hasn't been acting rude? Because he's rude the whole time. Just because he's an acting rude doesn't mean he's not rude. There we go. This is not right. Okay, can you give me the... There it is. Where's the fucking tweet? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Yeah, I don't like this framing. Well, Bisky, my point is that I don't look to his behavior here to determine whether or not he is rude or not. My camera's pissing me off. Okay, where were we? Where's the fucking video?
was stolen, a proposition with which I disagree. And he says that if that's true, then effectively the Constitution has already been nullified. That's not the same thing as...
That's not what he said. No, he was calling the Constitution an obstacle that should be removed.
He's saying he wants to obliterate all articles of the Constitution. I would also say that many of the things that Donald Trump says, I mean, show of hands, who takes everything that Donald Trump says seriously in this room? Really? All of you guys take everything he says seriously? He was indeed the president, and I would also recommend that if you take everything...
The whole room. He's the president.
That Donald Trump says absolutely literally, you might need to see a psychiatrist. Donald Trump does not take even Donald Trump does not take everything he says seriously. There's no way to, in any case, go ahead.
Does he believe he won the 2020 election?
I think he does believe that he won the 2020
really?
election.
So then
I
it would
missed
be
that, Bisky.
under
Hold
his...
on.
Everything he says seriously, a proposition with which I disagree, and he says that if that's true, then effectively the Constitution has already been nullified. That's not the same thing as saying he wants to obliterate all articles of the Constitution. I would also say that many of the things that Donald Trump says, I mean, show of hands, who takes everything that Donald Trump says seriously in this room? Really? All of you guys take everything he says seriously?
Did I miss the cameraman raising his hand? I was fine.
was indeed the president, and I would also recommend that if you take everything that Donald Trump says
This is only a
absolutely
year
literally,
now? It
you
was posted
might
a
need
year
to see a
ago. When was the
psychiatrist.
Jubilee?
Donald Trump does not take even Donald Trump does not take everything he says seriously. There's no, in any case, go ahead.
Does he believe he won the 2020 election?
I think he does believe that he won the 2020 election.
So then it would be, under his view, it is true. Therefore, it is the case that he does want to terminate the articles found in the Constitution. So
whether or not he wants to terminate, he does not have the capacity to do so.
Who gives a fuck, Ben? I hate this argument from conservatives. It makes no fucking sense. Like my dad, like, I don't understand why my dad argues with me on this point, because he never voted for Trump and he hates Trump. But he'll fucking argue, oh, well, son, the institutions still held. I'm like, the institutions didn't fucking hold. Mike Pence fucking held. Mike Pence is the only reason that we didn't have a fucking civil war in 2021. He stood on his own. Without Mike Pence, we would have, like, been butchering each other. Like, what the fuck? Like, who cares if they have the capacity or not? They still have the will to do it. I don't want that person to have access to power. If a person wants to abuse power, then I don't want them to have it. Why do you want them to have it? You shouldn't let somebody who wants to murder people around, like, kids just because the police are there. I mean, like, I don't know what kind of, like, comparison to make, but you don't just, like, unleash people who have harmful intent just because you're like, well, they couldn't, this is fine. Go figure, man who calls his wife mother had principles. Don't raise the red flag on Parker, you weirdo. I hate you guys. Jeez, Bisky, calm down. Calm down. Eligible young men will automatically be registered for U.S. military draft later this year. Am I cooked, bro? Might be. Y'all give me just a minute. Bisky, I'm going to ask you earnestly one time. Calm yourself with the freaking Parker fangirling in here. It's uncomfortable. If we all get drafted, we all going to die. I would sooner face the punishment for not going than jump aboard. But yeah, man, I don't fucking know.
So one of the things that when we talk about dangers to the institutions that are public is not just an intent issue. So what I've talked about with regard to President Trump is that many of the things that President Trump has done are kind of dumb ways of trying to violate the articles of the Constitution, for example, and they tend to be struck down by the courts or nullified by, for example, the Senate of the United States, which certified the vote, for example, in 2020. What the Biden administration has done, what Kamala Harris does, is expand the scope of executive power in unprecedented and much more subtle ways that threaten the viability of those institutions. So, for example, using OSHA in order to cram down a vaccine mandate on 80 million Americans, for example, or institutions. So, for example, using OSHA or nullified by, for example, the Senate of the United States, which certified the vote, for example, in 2020. What the Biden administration has done with states, which certified the vote, for example, in 2020. What the Biden administration has done with Kamala Harris does is expand the scope of executive power in unprecedented and much more subtle ways that
I want to die. I want to die. Holy shit. No. Let's just unitary executive theory. Let's just, fucking Kamala and Biden are trying to expand executive power. Let's just unitary executive theory, because fuck it. Jesus Christ.
threaten the
So
viability
disingenuous.
of those institutions. So, for example, using OSHA in order to cram down a vaccine mandate on 80 million Americans, for example, or when Kamala Harris talks about how she wants to get rid of the filibuster and thus stack the Supreme Court.
I also hate the comparison to, well, Kamala and Biden tried to expand executive power to do a one-time emergency order to save a ton of lives. Fuck those guys. Fuck them.
With a series of justices, or increase the number of justices on the Supreme Court, which is an actual. Harris talks about how she wants to get rid of the filibuster and thus stack the Supreme Court with a series of justices.
I'm pretty sure that he has intentionally covered his own ass by saying she wants to get rid of the filibuster. And then he is expanding that to saying that they're going to pack the court. I believe that's the case. During a 2019 campaign event, Harris said she was open to this conversation about increasing the number of people on the United States Supreme Court. During a 2024 CNN town hall, she said, "I do believe that there should be some kind of reform of the court, and we can study what that actually looks like." She reined that in a lot more by the time she was running for president.
Or increase the number of justices on the Supreme Court, which is an actual thing that she could do. The Republicans in the Senate, for example, have not said that they wish to get rid of the filibuster. Those are the kinds of threats to the institutions that I find significantly more credible than Donald Trump tweeting that he would like to make himself whatever he would like to make himself.
So wanting to terminate the Constitution, sending false slates of electors.
Because them packing the courts is a lot more likely.
Electoral college to cast Trump votes in 7 key states, even though he didn't win the election. Those things aren't a threat to the public institutions that we have, especially when he gets a vice president that said he wouldn't have certified the election results.
I don't think they're a threat to the established institutions of the republic, specifically because those institutions work. It's when you start to thwart the actual internal workings of the institutions that you have a serious danger. I disagree with many of the things that Trump has done and said on these particular matters.
All right. I gotta shut this one down. And then just real quick before I log off, and then see you guys on Monday.
Here's closing remarks. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, over the past...
Packing the court is not the best strategy. Having a constitutional convention and dismantling the entire court and rebuilding it from scratch is the best strategy.
4 days, you have seen state's prosecutor attempt to effectively bamboozle you with a series of hearsay arguments and loose speculative evidence, placing my client near the scene of the crime during the time of the murder. This evidence does nothing to indicate motive or means in the horrific murder of Roger Bell. Ultimately, it will be your decision to say, does this man deserve a lifetime in a federal penitentiary based on specious inconclusive evidence. You are tasked to consider the evidence and whether it proves beyond a reasonable doubt whether my client is guilty. Is my client a perfect man? No.
I killed him, yeah.
Your Honor.
If you gain access to the court, you can do what you want to keep the vibes up of your party. How does that fix the court? It's fucking great.
Kermit the Frog representing himself on a murder charge.
Well, golly, I understand that the prosecution has presented a really compelling case. And obviously, Fozzie Bear was a close friend.
Oh, no.
But ask yourself this question. If I were to be the one that killed Fozzie Bear, why would I have recorded going to see him alone that night? Wouldn't I have wanted to cover that up? Doesn't this speak that I've been framed? My name written in the ledger of the motel was written in pink glittery ink. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you've been watching me in a really toxic situation for decades. And nobody's done anything. I understand there's a gender dynamic, but Miss Piggy is 4 or 5 times my physical size. She's incredibly strong, and I know that she's in the courtroom.
Kermit the Frog represents...
Okay, well, that'll do it for me, guys. Wow. I'm Know Nothing attorney. I know nothing, so you can too, because it's only in embracing that we know nothing that we can actually learn anything. And that's what I'm here to do every time I'm live. I hope to learn from you guys, and I hope you can learn along with me. I hope you learned some LSAT and some lawyering tonight. Learned how much of a troll the Iranian establishment is. Learned just what links America will go to with the Vatican. I'm up too late tonight too. Oh shoot. As always, I'm proud of you. I don't need to know you personally for that to be real. It's true, and you deserve to hear it. If only because life's hard. It's always been hard, and always will be hard. But the way you face each and every single day, the way you do, is remarkable. So stay remarkable. I'll see you on Monday, since I'll be out of town for a birthday celebration. And let's try to find somebody we can raid real quick. Y'all are cool. I could raid Alex Jones. Is that Owen Schroyer? Is that the guy whose ass I kicked before I was even engaged in this kind of shit? I don't think I've ever talked about kicking Owen Schroyer's ass on the stream before. Not rhetorically kicked his ass. Ray Dreaded GM. Oh, I always listen to the mod. She's the boss. I just toil away on stream. All right, remind me to talk about the time that I debated Owen Schroyer at a protest demonstration. Pet the mod. Hey. All right. See you guys Monday. Let's raid. That's not what I wanted.